Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and today I'm very grateful and very humbled to be joined by Tanner Dagenais again. For those that don't know, Tanner's also a self-sabotage coach. He appeared on my podcast in episode 3 or 4, spoke about his story and how he became aware of things and how he changed his life around. So today we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions and how they don't work for people and how that the subconscious mind can dictate whether you follow through with it or not. I hope you get a lot out of this podcast, and Tanner's got a lot of valuable information to share. So we'll hand it over to Tanner to do a quick introduction and we'll rock and roll.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nathan, again for having me on. Always love to come on and speak with you, and having you on my podcast. It's always something special. So super glad to have that. And yeah, so my name is Tanner. My name is Tanner Dagenais. I'm actually here in South Carolina in the USA. And really, my main goal is to help other people overcome self-sabotage, like a lot of other coaches. But because I have a big belief that all of us can actually overcome self-sabotage. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've experienced, or how old you are, or like any of that. It just what really matters is like this information, So really, I love to just share this information as much as possible with people because it can change people's lives so much. I've seen it firsthand with my own life. I've seen it with my wife's life. I've seen it with everyone I've helped, and it's just really opened my eyes to just a whole new world of thinking about things and understanding why we self-sabotage, and why it can be hard to make changes. So it's perfect topic tonight with New Year's resolution, because we know how often people will say, oh, I'm gonna start working out, and they'll start working out for like a week or two, and then they end up not working out, or they just like buy that gym membership and they end up never going, or they buy that new gym equipment and just collecting dust in the basement. And I did some of the same exact stuff. So perfect topic, and I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be awesome. So we'll just delve into it. So yeah, a lot of people out there set New Year's resolutions. They have these awesome ambitions, these goals, and they don't really. Sometimes they can achieve them though. But most of the time, yeah, as you said, the gym equipment and the stuff's just collecting dust somewhere in the house or in the basement. We don't really have basements here in Australia, but yeah, I'm interested in some of your New Year's resolutions that you might have set for yourself, Tanner, and then I'll share one that I set when I was a teenager that I just remembered.
Yeah, so I actually haven't set one for a while, but thinking back, I think it was probably something like I'm going to start working out. And what I used to tell myself back in the day is I don't like working out. I'd rather just do the sport. I would rather do some kind of activity instead of working out. So I was like, yeah, I want to start working out. I want to get fit. And I was always somewhat fit, but I never followed through with it. I would start working out maybe for a couple of weeks, and then I'm like, yeah, it's not really working. It's not my thing, and I would just move on. And so I stopped setting those New Year's resolutions. Um, in part, something that always struck me as odd is people are always waiting for New Year's to do these resolutions, right?
Yeah,
When like you can just do it anytime. Like, what's so special about New Year's? Let's just do it now. Like,
yeah,
stop waiting until New Year's to do it, and let's just do it right now. And that's really my mindset now, right? Because like, a lot of these people are like, oh, I'm just gonna wait until after Christmas, after I'm done, consuming all this chocolate and candy and alcohol, and then I'll start making better decisions. But if we tell ourselves, we're gonna do that in the future, a lot of the times we're not gonna end up doing it.
mm.
So I think that's a big thing, like about it, right? Because like we're literally telling ourselves it's not that important. We can wait for
Mm. Yeah,
it, right?
absolutely. I'm spot on. If you want to make change, like you can literally change right now, and the changes that can be so quick for the better. When I was a teen, Tanner, I'll quickly share a New Year's
Yeah.
resolution I had. I just remembered one off air. We were asking about whether we had any over the years. One I had when I was 19, 20 was I said to myself, I'm not gonna drink anymore. I think I lasted 3 days. But that was my subconscious programming. I was around some friends that were drinking as well, and I found it really hard to make that change because of the people around me. My family as well were drinking too, so I found it quite hard. But once I became aware of Jason's work and met a whole new tribe of people, that transition from drinking to non-drinking was made so much easier. Even though I went cold turkey on it, I still was able to transition from that old version of myself into the current version now. So that was my experience with it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, right? Because some people are like, why can't I stick to my goal? Like I just want to be able to do this, and they end up just giving up on it, right? Because they had that conscious desire. They had that conscious desire, like I want to be healthier, I want to start working out. And then they just hit that brick wall, which is subconscious, and says, whoa, 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 stop right where you are. We got a whole different agenda over here in subconscious land. And our agenda is to stick with the tribe or the group of people we're at. And just like you, when you were trying to stop, drinking, um, your subconscious is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All of our friends and everyone around us is drinking. We should probably continue drinking.
Yeah.
And actually, if I probably had something similar like that, I've told myself, well, maybe it wasn't a New Year's resolution, but I've told myself so many times, I'm going to stop drinking.
Yeah.
Then the next day, or like the next couple of days, I found myself with a Coke and whiskey in my hand, and I was just like, oh man, I'm back at it again.
Yeah.
And I was just back at it again. And a lot of people feel like that's just like there's something wrong with them, right? Like I know for the longest time I thought there was something wrong with me. You always just hear, oh, you just need to have the willpower to do it. And willpower is important, but part of it is just understanding why it's happening and then addressing like why it's happening. Because it's happening because you have all those programs in your subconscious. You're having it because you literally have a program to drink. You've seen so many other people do it. You've seen likely seen your parents do it. You saw society, you saw the TV shows, you saw the advertisements, everything from a full assault um on you. It's just like nonstop. Everyone drinks, and that's just kind of the way the society is, right? You drink to relax, you drink to have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because it's safe. Like when we're kids and we see our parents and our parents' friends and friends and friends, and as it just goes on and on and on and on, we just seek that safety. And most of the time, we seek the safety through drinking or smoking or whatever that may be in that time. But from the age of 0 to 7, we're literally walking around dream bots, theta brainwave state. So we're literally getting programs from school, we're getting programs from our parents, people around us, people in the supermarket, people anywhere. Like we're literally walking around theta brainwave state. And when you get out of that from 8 to 18, well, then you want to bond with your parent. And the only way you're going to bond with your parent is doing the things they were doing. And it's becoming consciously aware of that. And then once you become consciously aware of that, then you realize, oh, this is why I'm drinking. This is why I'm got my what's a piece of equipment? This is why I've got my my weights just collecting dust. Like it's all subconscious programming that we've seen from the ages 0 to 7, and we're just walking around as theta brain bots, really, aren't we, Tanner?
Yeah, I mean these programs, right? Like you're spot on, right? We're from the ages of like 2 to 7, right? We're literally, that's why kids are so able to learn so easily, right? Because you always hear like, oh, if you're gonna teach like a kid a language, make sure it's before while they're young. That's because they're just really their subconscious mind is like on hyperdrive at that point. So they're essentially like super susceptible. They're able to learn very quickly, and that's really how they survive, right? Because you talked about safety, right? Those kids, like the way for a child to survive is to fit in with their tribe, is to fit in with other people, because they can't provide for themselves, they can't drive a car, they can't work a job, they don't have money, so they need someone else to do those things for them. And really, from like a child's perspective, the best way to make it so that person still provides for you is to make sure they like you. And usually you make sure that someone likes you by doing the same things they're doing, right? So that's spot on. Yep. um, and that's really where a lot of these programs do come from. But the good news is that we are able to reprogram those, and then we can start making quick changes like you were able to do with alcohol, right? Because you started to understand why you were making those choices, and then you were able to address it. And I think a big part of it is just like getting more knowledge in general about like how the subconscious mind works, and how it's influenced. Because once we're able to start understanding that portion of it, then we can really be like, okay, we got the tools we need, we got the information we need. Now we just need to go out there and really like influence ourselves towards a better life, is really what it is.
Yep, spot on. And there's plenty of books out there. Bruce Lipton's work's awesome. I'm currently reading The Honeymoon Effect right now. Unreal book, by the way. About to finish The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Like there's always self-help books out there that can help guide you with this stuff too. It's not, to just listen to us. Like there's books out there. There's plenty of other sabotage coaches. You can jump on freedomselfsabotage.com. Follow Jason Christoph. He's always recommending books, podcasts, affirmations. Like there's just so much that you can surround yourself with to become better. So that's that book Bruce Lipton's written is unreal.
Yeah, exactly. And Bruce Lipton is like an amazing scientist, doctor. Like he literally studied like genes, essentially like epigenetics, and he found out that people always think like, oh, it's my genes, and that's why I am the way I am. That's why I'm fat. That's why I had this disease. That's why I have this. But what he found out is like the genes have some influence, but really the major influence is its environment that the genes are in. So like what he found is like he had certain like cells with those genes that were supposed to be for like a certain kind of muscle, but he changed the environment and they started growing to a different kind of muscle. So like really what you should take from that is that it doesn't really matter what your genes are. It really more matters what your environment is. Because if you change your environment, and your environment doesn't have to be just the people around you, it's the TV shows you're watching, it's the podcasts you're listening to, it's the songs you listen to, it's everything, because your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between fiction and reality. Is the reality of it. And really, when you understand that from the honeymoon effect, that everything's made up of energy, right? And doesn't matter, right? So like I am the same thing as this computer screen, because we're all made up of atoms. And with quantum physics, now they know that those the atoms are made up of three different quantum particles, which are really just little energy vortexes. And those energy vortexes make up everything. So everything is made up of energy. So, it doesn't matter what it is, it's all made up of the same stuff. So it literally all affects us. And that environment piece is so important, because what's in your environment really dictates a lot of your life. So you got to make sure, essentially, you got to hack your environment, or you got to be the one who is purposefully putting good things in your environment. Because once you know that, you can start to make sure that your environment's full of good things, and you can start to create a better life for yourself. You can start to create better programs for yourself. You can start to change your environment. Your genes will start to change with it as well, and your beliefs and everything will start to change. And I think that's so powerful.
It is very powerful, and change is so important too, isn't it? A lot of people out there are stuck doing the same thing every day. Some people don't even change the fact that they can just drive another way to work or something. Like change is so important, especially in the times we're in now too. A lot of people are turning towards positive stuff, because we're just lived with absolute negativity straight from the TV and that too. So it's interesting, isn't it, that surround yourself with positivity, not just the people, your household, your friends, even just putting stuff in your car as well. Like when you're driving, have a nice little love heart saying, I love you. Like, that sort of stuff's just so powerful, isn't it?
Yep. And I think it's that change is so important, right? But I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, you changed, like it's a bad thing, right?
Yes.
Like, damn right I changed. I don't want to be the same person I was in high school.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the same person I was like a year ago. Like it's about moving forward in life, unless you had like the perfect life and you're doing everything right. But almost no one, like not even like the most successful people I know, have like the perfect life and have things they don't need to change, right? We all need to start, we all need to change, and we all need to continue moving forward in life. And I think that's so important, right? It's not really about perfection, it's about progression and just moving forward, continuing to be your best and continue moving toward your new dreams and your goals. Because if once you attain a dream or a goal, like one of your goals, it's time to set a new goal. It's time to continue moving forward and not just be stagnant. I feel like that's where a lot of the problems come with, because people are just okay with what they are. Like they've just accepted that, oh, life is really just work 9 to 5, go home, binge watch TV, scroll through social media, drink alcohol, pretty much do anything to fill your time until the next day, and then you start it all over again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they're comfortable with that too. They're comfortable being comfortable. We say it all the time, but it's just, they're just comfortable being comfortable. And it's just that one little thing you could say, or that one little moment, and they're like, oh, okay. And then the change can be made, and then you can start being uncomfortable with yourself. And that's when you'll learn the most about yourself, is when you're uncomfortable with yourself. That's what I found anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think a big part of that is removing the sedations, removing
Yep.
our vices, right? Because those vices, which essentially is just something that holds you back. Um, the reason why we call them vices, and I've seen you post this, and I know we talked about this before, right? Everything in moderation, or the vices, is really, we're saying that because we know it's bad for us, and we're trying to oh, everyone has their vices. Everything in moderation, that's fine, right? But in the reality is, it's bad for you. That's why you're saying it.
Yeah.
And these things are really just distractions, really just distractions from that, from like usually like a shitty life, from the pain that we should be feeling. And when we distract ourselves, like I know for me, marijuana, that's the main reason why I think is a big problem. For me personally, was that it allowed me to be happy with where I was, when really I should have been like, had like a fire underneath my butt, and I should have been moving like towards something better, because I was just high. I was like, oh yeah, whatever, like I'm fine. I'll just go and enjoy my day, and I'll get high tomorrow, I'll get high the next day. And I was just high 24/7. And that's a big problem, because if you're not like, if you don't have that motivation to move forward, and you're just comfortable with where you are, then you're going to find yourself in a spot where you probably aren't very happy. And that's where I was, like, right. Like I was in credit card debt. I was frustrated. I wasn't really working out. I was starting to gain weight. I was always that skinny kid, but at this point, like I think it was like 24, 25, I was starting to gain weight.
Yeah.
You can tell I was getting unhealthy. And if I would have continued down that route, I'd probably be overweight at this point. I'd probably be more in debt, and I would probably wouldn't have moved forward, right?
Yeah.
But I started to remove those distractions, started to learn about the subconscious mind, and that's, I think, what was a big change for me.
Yeah. And what was that moment that changed? Was it you asking for help, or was it just something you saw? Like, what was the moment for you where you went, okay, this is it. This is the path I'm choosing now. Like, what was that moment for you?
So, and I want to talk about the moment, because the moment is really impactful. And I think these moments that I'm going to talk about is like my rock bottom moment. And the reason why these rock bottom moments are so powerful, right, is because they're full of usually high emotion, and these like very like emotional places that we get put into, that rock bottom, as most people describe them. These, they have a really big impact on the subconscious mind. So usually when people experience these rock bottoms, they're able to make those changes a lot quicker, because they've got that switch in their minds. And like I feel like a lot of people's stories have that kind of rock bottom. But for me, it was when I hit that credit card debt. I was living with my girlfriend, who was my wife at the time, or sorry, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. And we literally couldn't afford living on our own anymore. So I remember this. I had to call my mom, to ask if we can move in with her. And I remember she was like, "Oh yeah, you can always move in with us, honey," and blah blah blah. And so I was super grateful that I had that ability to be able to move in with my parents, because not everyone has that. Um, but it was kind of embarrassing, right? Because you had to move in with your girlfriend. No, first of all, just moving back in with your parents after you moved out and lived on your own, I feel like it's not ideal. Um, but then moving in with your girlfriend, I remember we were both stuck into like one little tiny room. We went from like a 1 bedroom apartment down to like just one room. It was this, we had like most of our stuff like in a storage unit. She was working in the same room, so she would get up, work in the same room, and we actually lived there for 2 years. I didn't have a job at the time, because we had to move away to move back with my parents, but it made more sense because I wasn't really making that much money anyways, and just the debt. So I was like, okay, how can we remove like our biggest like you know uh like biggest cost every month, and that was really just rent. So I was like, okay, move back in with my parents, and that's what we started doing. And so I had a lot of time because I didn't have a job. I had that pain with me, that that embarrassment, and so I had a lot of time to think about like what is going on with my life, like how did I get here? And so I started using that time to really do research on things. Um, and that's kind of what started it all, was just like that moment when I had moved back with my parents, because that really got me to really start considering like I knew I wanted to change before that, but at that point, once I got that feeling and I had to move back with my parents, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta do something. I gotta do something to get out of this. And it did take me a little bit of time to get out of it because I didn't have the information at that point, right? I still knew what I like. I've known I like wanted to stop drinking. I know I wanted to, start making more money, start moving towards something better, but I just I didn't know how to do it. I kept sabotaging myself. I thought there was something wrong with me. And I don't know how I found Jason, but I just found him like in my Facebook one day. And I was reading some of the stuff and I'm like, what? Like that makes total sense. Like this is why I'm doing the thing that I'm doing. And so I started following him more. I started just researching everything. So I think the first thing I researched was I was really big into like alien stuff and like Egyptian, like like the pyramids and things like that. So I started looking into the pyramids, and I learned that they were like everything I've been taught about the pyramids, from my belief and from what I've researched, is just completely false. Like there's no way that they built them like during the floods and things like that. So I was like, what? They're lying about this? And then I started finding Paul Chek, and I started looking to him because Paul Chek, if you guys don't know, is a really great man. He started the Chek Institute, which is really all about holistic health and like looking at health from a big picture. It's total opposite of what our medical system is about. And I started looking to that, and I realized, wow, all the shit, all the food I've been putting in my body is completely garbage. And so I just kept going down that route of just finding the next thing, finding the next thing. And I started to really realize that, you know, I've been like literally like society is kind of backwards, and that I should be doing something else with my life. And there's a reason why I am where I was, because I was following what everyone else was doing. And so it all started making sense. It all started clicking. And that's really what I attribute to, is that rock bottom moment, having to move in with my parents, having extra time to do the research and look into things. Because if I would have just not hit that rock bottom moment, if I would have not really had some of that time to look into things, I probably would have just continued smoking and drinking every day and continued working, and I probably would have thought that was normal. So they say everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer of that. Sometimes those shitty moments are literally like the universe giving you a swift kick in the butt to say, hey, it's time to wake up and it's time to get going. Unfortunately, some people still ignore those things. But I think the majority of people kind of, when the universe gives them a swift kick in the butt, they start to wake up to
it. Spot on. So such a powerful story, man. Like I know you shared some of it in the last chat, but yeah. During that process, did you find yourself crying a bit, mate? Because during my rock bottom, like all I did was shed tears. Like I had suppressed tears for so long. I just felt myself like every second or third day, man. I was just crying my eyes out, like, and crying so powerful too. Did you find yourself just shedding a few tears, or?
Yeah, I did every once in a while. Tell you the truth, I was still trying to kind of hide it because I was like with my girlfriend at the time, and I still had those beliefs, like, oh, you're not supposed to cry, like you got to hide this stuff. And I had this weird thing when I was repressing my emotions. I would start crying at like the most like cheesy like movies and things like that, where like it wouldn't make any sense to like really be crying, and my wife would like be looking at me like, why are you crying right now? I'm like, I don't even know. And I think it's because like my emotions were literally like so ready to come out. They're like, oh yeah, it's a movie where people are supposed to be like emotional. It's a perfect time to cry. And I would just start crying like just randomly. And so that, like, I thought that was really weird, but yeah, I've definitely started to allow myself to feel those feelings more, right? Because I was repressing them, I was sedating them, and it's so important just to feel those emotions. Like if you're unhappy with where you are, you really need to let that pain train like ride over you, let it reverse back and ride over you again. As sad as that is to hear, and people, our minds are really like meant to avoid pain. Like, don't jump off this, don't do this to hurt yourself. If you touch a hot stove, oh, it's gonna hurt. Pull your hand away, right? And so a lot of people are like programmed to avoid pain, but that pain, and that's why you're not supposed to avoid it, right? That's why you're not supposed to sedate it. Because if you're not feeling that pain, then you're not going to have that response of, oh, I got to get out of here. I got to move my hand because, that's essentially what people are doing when they're sedating their pain. They're just keep their hand on the stove and they're burning themselves. They don't even realize it.
Hmm.
They just have their hand on the stove the whole time and they're like, huh, something smells weird. And it's like, yeah, because you're burning yourself right now. You're literally, hurting yourself and you're just too distracted. You're too sedated to realize it.
Yep. Yep. Spot on. And the first step is just get healthy first. Once you start getting healthy, those emotions will start coming up. I know for me, I was exactly the same as you. I would listen to a song over the last probably couple of years and I'd just go, oh, hang on. I start crying and I was the same as you. I'm like, why am I crying? It wasn't until I did the work on myself and released some forgiveness, some fear and some shame and some guilt that I had was ready it was literally just bursting, mate. It was ready just to come all out. And I did some healings, did some meditations, worked with some awesome people. And mate, all I did was cry. Like, yeah, I had a lot of guilt, fear, shame, a lot of stuff inside that just needed to be released. And once you release all of that stuff, like your life does change. It really does. It's such powerful work, and they call this work the great work for a reason, because it is the great work. It's the great work you're doing on yourself, and it's the great work you're putting out there. So you're going to attract people that are doing the great work as well, and then you start having conversations where you heal together and you learn together and you love together. You have that human deep connection that we all crave. Your friendships have more meaning. Your relationships with people have more meaning. The universe will bring you people in that maybe are a couple of steps ahead, couple of steps back. You help each other. Like the people that I've met since I've released some of this stuff, it's just been absolutely like life-changing. Like even just meeting you, mate, like it's just incredible. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to do the great work, and I do the great work every single day. And if you're stuck and if you need help in that, we're doing the great work every single day. So is Tanner. Reach out and let's get you back on the path, because once you walk that path, mate, things just light up, literally, inside and outside. I don't know. I just went deep there.
No, yeah, I
I just
completely
love
agree.
talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
things light up just like the Christmas lights behind me, right?
literally.
Like all of a sudden you're just like boom, like
Yep.
I know what I need to do. And I think it's important, like we also like you talked about like how you reached out and you got help, right?
Mm.
Because like asking for help, like it was great that I had like seen Jason's stuff and I had, done all the research, but I hadn't like actually reached out for help. And so I was still kind of stagnant. Like I was still like in my parents' house for 2 years. So I hadn't reached out for help yet. And I had that belief that like, oh, if I ask for help, I'm not good enough. And like that's like a shameful thing to do.
Yep.
Um, and so I eventually, I reached out to Paul Chek in a way. I signed up for his course, learned through him. And then I saw Jason's stuff and I was like, okay, I need to do this. Like I saw he was doing like doing the coaching school, and you also get to do a session with him during it. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity.
Mm.
Like I totally vibe with what he does and what he says. So I'm just gonna do it. And actually, I didn't even believe in myself to be a coach at the time. My wife was like, "You'd be a good coach," and I was like, "Really? Like I would." And so she kind of gave me that motivation to do it. And so I reached out and I started that. And it really did change my life. Like not only just like learning the information, but like you said, meeting all the people that comes with actually moving forward in life and trying to be a better person. It really does change a lot of the things. It presents new opportunities. You start to think differently. You start to really like I guess vibe, like you
You
have that
feel
different
differently too.
frequency about you, right?
Yeah, and you feel differently too. You start to feel things again. Like I was closed off from love, as I said in my chat with you. Like I started to feel love again, not just for myself, but for others. And then I was one that sheltered away from displaying sympathy and empathy to people. Like now it's like I feel that. Like I feel what you're feeling. Like, yeah. It's such powerful work, this stuff. And yeah, it's definitely like, and I found Jason at the absolute right time too. It was this time last year before Christmas. He announced his coaching school. I was the same as you. I was like, I have to do this. And I didn't have someone saying, "Oh, you're going to be a great coach." I
Yeah.
found this myself because I didn't have a girlfriend or anything that was motivating me. I found the motivation myself. I knew that I guess I just had this intuitive feeling that I knew that the moment I start working with Jason, my life was going to change. And if you had told me 12 months ago that I would have started a podcast, written a book, made a website, can make memes now, can write blogs and all sorts of stuff, I would have said, mate, you're absolutely crazy. Like, I would have said back then, I can't do any of those things. All Jason did was pick me up, dusted me off, and said, righto, Nath, go out there and be awesome and allow some teens and young adults and just change the world, brother. You can do this. And that's all I needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's really how easy it is, right?
Yeah.
It didn't take long. Like for both of us, like the sessions are like pretty short, right? We have like 2 1 hour long sessions, maybe 3 of them. And that's really all you need. Once you start to learn the information and like you can see like why everything is happening in your life, and how to address it. That's why this information is so powerful. It's simple information, but we're not taught it. Like once you learn it, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. But I never would have thought of it. And we're not taught it in school. We're not taught it in elementary school. We're not taught it in middle school or high school. We're not taught this information, and that's by design, of course. So that's why I think it's so important that people start to understand the subconscious mind, because it's one of the most powerful parts of our mind. It influences us daily. Like they say, about 95% of our daily actions and thoughts are really come from our subconscious minds, because most time people aren't operating from their conscious mind. They're operating from their subconscious mind and just running those programs.
And it's simple. It's just allowing to feel and to have conscious awareness of why you're picking up that chocolate bar, why you're overeating at Christmas, why the treadmill's got dust on it. Like, there's a reason for it, and it's gaining that conscious awareness. And we said it in our 3 sabotage chats too. It's like knowledge is power, and if you can gain that knowledge of why you're doing what you're doing, then that's your power to allow yourself to change.
Yep. Yeah, and I think just like you're talking about, like Jason just dusted you off, right?
Literally.
Because he didn't really he didn't add, like he taught you some information, but you already had everything you needed, and we all do have everything we need already. We have it all inside of us. We had all the good beliefs. We had all these good things when we were children, but we learned from someone else. We learned from society. We learned from parents. We learned from friends, from teachers, from things like that, or from experiences that we've experienced. And we started to change our beliefs. We start to change, like, oh, maybe we aren't good enough. Oh, maybe we don't deserve these things. But babies, they all know. Like, I have an 8-month-old at home. He knows he deserves to have food. He knows he deserves to have his diaper changed. If he doesn't get it, he starts screaming, right? Because he knows he deserves those things. He knows he deserves love. And really deep down, we all knew those things when we were kids.
We did.
But we started to alter our beliefs to kind of fit in with society. And that's where a big problem comes with it. And, because really our beliefs, our thoughts, those things really turn into blueprints for our life, right? The things we believe, our subconscious mind takes them and makes blueprints. And it's like, okay, you believe that you're not good enough. You believe that you're not a good public speaker. So let me help you with that. I'm gonna help you stutter when you're trying to public speak. I'm gonna help you make mistakes. I'm gonna help you start sweating and kind of get a heart flutter when you're, because the subconscious mind also is in charge of all bodily functions. So when you have to go to the bathroom, when you have to do something like that, that's your subconscious mind saying, hey, it's time to go to the bathroom, right? And so your subconscious mind can easily alter your heart rate. It can easily do these sorts of things to help you achieve your goals or what you've told it. So you need to start telling it good things, tell it positive things, avoid the negatives, because if you're focusing on the negative, it's only going to bring in more negativity. If you're focusing on the positive, you're going to bring more positivity in your life. It sounds simple, and people are like, well, I focused on positivity and nothing happened. It's like, well, think about what else you were doing that day. Did you have negative thoughts come up? Were you watching like most TV shows? How many people were you around who were saying negative things? How often, like how long did you stick with that positivity?
How patient
right?
are you?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's kind of like with working out. People will work out for a couple weeks, and then like, oh, I'm not seeing results, I'm done.
Mm.
Like I did with my New Year's resolution I was talking about, right? Like, oh, I didn't get super buff off like a couple of weeks of working out, I'm out of here.
It's just that quick
But it
fix.
takes more than that, right?
Yeah, they're just looking for that quick fix. A lot of people out there don't have the patience to stick things out. They want that. They want that coach. They want that guru. They want that doctor, that psychologist that can just go fix me in an instant. Like it. It's just patience with yourself and the work and the process, and eventually you'll start seeing results. But as we said, it's progression, not perfection. You're not gonna get the quick fix from us. We're gonna give you tips on different things of why you do what you do, but you go away and do the work, and in 12 months' time, you won't know yourself. And 12 months can go quickly because the last 12 months for me have gone really quick. And when you said
And
before about speaking to yourself and that, like every time before I jump on a podcast now, I say I speak clearly, confidently, and slowly for the world to see. Because if you go back and watch my very first episode, I was a stuttering mess. I was so nervous. But now, every day I'm improving my speaking ability, and I'm so proud of myself for that. And I just say to myself every time I speak clearly, confidently, and slowly for the world to see. That's all I say. Four or
yeah, I
five
love it.
times. Yep.
I love it. I do the exact same thing. I say it's gonna be an amazing podcast. I love to speak and publicly in front of other people. I love to, share my message with others. I
Mm,
speak at the perfect pace because I've always found like I spoke too quick as
same.
well. I get nervous. I'm like, oh, blah, 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 and people are
Yep.
like, what are you
Same.
saying? Just trying to get all of the information out because I was
Yep.
nervous about it. But
Mm,
um, yeah, how you speak to yourself is so important, right? I totally agree with that. Like
yeah.
it's changed my life, just changing the way I was speaking. I've shared a couple stories on the podcast that we've done together.
Mm,
But one that comes to mind is one of my jobs. So it was working at a call center at Empower Retirement, and I was starting to learn this information, right? Um, but I hadn't fully learned it yet. And so my mindset on the job was that I hated it, that like I was so nervous about doing it. I was literally told myself I was dreading to go to work. And every time I went to work, I would have this knot in my stomach. And it got worse every single day that I continued to do that. And I got to the point where I just had to quit. And I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell my job. I didn't give any notice. I've never done that before either. But it's because my negative thinking got so bad to the point where I was literally making myself sick. I mean, I had convinced myself the only way I can get free from this is if I quit right now. And so that was kind of like another rock bottom moment, probably.
mm,
Because like I started to develop depression. I've never had depression like like that. I've maybe like been sad a couple of days or something like that. But I was literally like I would get home, I just wouldn't want to talk to my wife. I'd just be done with the day. Like I had like all the life out of me, and I was just because I told myself these things, and I know it was the mindset because now I'm working at a similar job, and what I tell myself before is, oh, this is gonna be a great day. I can do this job easily. It's not hard at all. And I don't have that same thing. I don't have that depression, right? It's literally just changing the things you're telling yourself. And that can be so powerful when you start to be aware of the words. And if you guys want to hear more about this, me and Nathan done a Power of Words podcast together where really we went into depth about this.
yeah.
So make sure you guys check that out because
Put
that
a link in
was
the bottom.
Oh yeah, and then also the overcoming self sabotage roundtable we talked about in there too. So
Mm,
yeah, so powerful. Just changing what things you're telling yourself. That could be a big way you can start to address the self sabotage in your life, and really you can start to make sure you start to achieve those New Year's resolutions if you
yeah.
guys set them right, or any goal. You don't have to wait for New Year's, but if you
Yeah.
do set New Year's resolution, make sure you're telling yourself good things about it, and
And
you're talking yourself up.
exactly right. And you set the intention. It's all well and good having a New Year's resolution. Set the intention and tell yourself that you're going to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. And you'll be surprised, but you will achieve it. Just from telling yourself that you will achieve it, you'll stick to it. You're not going to say, we discussed it in our Power of Words. You're not going to say that I'm going to try. You're going to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to see it out. I'm going to stick it out. and you watch your life change, and you'll achieve that, and then you'll set another intention, and you'll just snowball. Set that first intention and stick to it.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Definitely don't tell yourself you're going to try, right?
No.
If you tell yourself you're going to try, what is that really implying? Oh, that I might fail.
Yep.
Like for everyone who likes Star Wars, Yoda says, try not, do or do not. There is no try.
Well said.
You really just do things or you don't do them, because at the end of the day, if you're trying something, are you really doing something? Not usually. No.
No.
You're setting yourself up to fail. Just tell yourself you're gonna do it, and then do your best to do it. And if you counter a problem, maybe you got to address the way you were going about it. Maybe you got to change your approach on it, but doesn't mean you're done. You can continue moving forward, and you can continue to do that thing until you actually achieve it. Right?
Spot on. Yep. Speaking about moving forward, it's like if you're wondering your life's not taking you anywhere and you're not going anywhere, and you realize that you are stuck, we have tons of advice and tons of free information that we can share to you. If you're looking for a podcast, like the Paul Chek one, I might put a link to Paul Chek down the bottom of the book and the podcast for those that are interested in the work he does. It's like we have such awesome epic tools at our disposal that we can just be like, okay, well, if you're stuck, well, here's an affirmation that I can send you. It can simply be, I love you, Tanner. I love the work you do. You're a powerful person. Something like that can change someone's day, can change their life. And if you're stuck and struggling out there, we have all these tools at our disposal. You don't have to pay us for a coaching session. We can just send you some affirmations. We can send you some books, Bruce Lipton's and Dr. Joseph Murray's books, just to name two, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. That's another good book too. We can send you heaps of resources and stuff that you don't have to pay for. Well, you pay for the books and stuff, but we can send you stuff to help you start doing this work on yourself, because that's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we both really have a passion for helping people. So there's, and like to Jason's point, or sorry, to Nathan's point. Oh man, I was thinking of Jason at that point. Yeah. So to Nathan's point, we all like, with the invention of the internet, there's so much information at your fingertips.
Yep.
So having the excuse of, oh, I don't have the money or I don't have this, well, then go out and find the information for free. There's so much information for free, on our podcast. Like every day we share really great information on Facebook.
We do.
With either like the videos that we post or like the podcast that we do. We just did Overcoming Self-Sabotage seminar, which was completely free. Finding on YouTube, Rumble, on Spotify, all the places pretty much. You can easily find this information, and we pretty much went over many different forms of self-sabotage and the solution. So like right there, you have a great resource of information and then we all gave freebies at the end of literally things you guys can do to start moving forward in life. And then of course, if you guys do want to work with us, we'll be more than happy to work with you guys. And I really highly recommend working with someone as well.
Yeah,
because you can do these things without people's help, but a lot of the times you're going to be moving at like a snail's pace compared to when you actually get someone to help. Because think about like this: one of the best investments you guys can make in your life is literally an investment in yourself. Your health, your mind, the knowledge you have in your mind. Once you get that investment, once you start investing in your health, once you start getting more knowledge, you can literally like exponentially increase your growth. You have that knowledge, you have that health, then to continue moving forward. So once you have more energy, once you're feeling better, once you're starting to get more sleep, you have more ability to do things. You have more ability to think clearly. Once you are actually have more knowledge, you can use that knowledge to start to do something better in your life. Now about the subconscious mind. Oh, now I can start to take actions towards something better. I can start to influence myself. I can start to create new programs. Every like tool you add on, it's literally something you can take forward in life and like, okay, now I have this tool so I can apply it in my life, make them better. But I think part of it is getting the knowledge, and part of it is just taking the action with that knowledge you have now, right? Because like you can learn everything in the world, but if you don't apply it, if you don't take that action, then nothing's really going to happen, right?
Exactly.
You're still going to be stuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. Like you got to learn, you got to reach out. That information's out there. It's just, you got to you got to take that time to do it. You know, are you working all day and just spending all your time not doing anything? Like I know I was a big proponent of that.
I was.
Like back in the day, I just wouldn't do anything, right? With my time. And I'd be like, why is my life not getting better? Well, it's because I was taking the same actions every day that got me to that spot. So those same actions are definitely not going to get me to the new spot, right? Because they got me to where I was then. They're not going to get me to this new life that I want.
That's it. And a lot of people too, it's like their job's it in terms of money and that. Like once you learn this information and learn the powers of your subconscious mind, I've got a really good piece of advice when I was stuck in some money stuff. This awesome lady who was on my very first episode of this podcast, actually, Gina said to me, she said, Nathan, you can do and be anything. You don't have to just do one thing. You can do multiple things. And at the time I was like, what? I can't do multiple things. I don't have the time. Well, now I write blogs, I record podcasts, I help people every single day. I work in a local primary school here, just in before and after school care. I still have the time to do all of these things. And I've written a book as well. So
spot on.
Change can be so quick.
Totally agree. Yeah, because there's really no excuse because I'm working a full-time job just like you. Got an 8-month-old at home, so like spending time with him, changing diapers, all those things. Got my coaching business, doing the podcast, creating blogs, all those things, plus doing an organic superfoods business. And really what I've learned is that you have time for what you make for, is really what it is. Are you making time for the wrong sorts of things? Are you using your time towards like Netflix and video games and things like that? Like, yeah, the sleeping in. I was using so much time playing video games. That's what I was doing. When I stopped smoking and drinking, I mean, I was always a big video game player, but I replaced that even more with video games because, I gotta relax. Just need to relax from the day, and I would just go play video games all day, and I wouldn't get anything done.
So Tanner, how do you relax now? We'll finish with that question. How do you relax now?
Yeah, so a big part of the way I relax is, well, one, I live a lifestyle where I don't need to relax as much.
Yeah.
Because like that's a big thing is like when I started to change my mindset, I wasn't as stressed out anymore. So I didn't feel like I was so like stressed out. Like I had changed my mindset, so I wasn't like totally like ramming myself with negative energy. I wasn't draining myself worrying about all these things that I can't control. Because I started to realize if it's out of my control, then why the hell am I worrying about it? Exactly. And if it's in my control, then how about I just take some actions to do that thing instead of worrying about the same thing, right? And then I started to address my health, because once I started to take back my health, I had more energy for things. I had more ability to enjoy the day and enjoy my life. So that was a big way too. Like I just started take back my health, change my mindset, and that really made it much easier to relax. And then I do other things like I meditate. Like I probably don't do as much as you do because it sounds like you do some awesome meditations. I meditate. I spend some time with my son. I know that's a great way to relax. I go on walks. So one thing, like at my work, like I have 15-minute breaks, and I always go out for a walk, and I almost never see anyone else out there walk. I'm literally walking around a parking lot because that's the only where I can walk. But I'm out there walking, and I never see almost anyone out there. Like sometimes people are usually walking like inside the building, but maybe a couple people. Most people just sit down and sit there on their phones. So it's no wonder people are stressed out, right? Because they're literally staying inside all day and stuck to technology. Like these people are literally on, like we work on computers. So I'm literally on a computer all day, and then people go on their breaks and they're on the computer. And then they go back to work on the computer, and they go back on their break and they're on their phone. Like they don't have any break from technology. So another way I do it is I allow myself a break from technology. I get outside and I enjoy the fresh air. And I think that fresh air, that sunshine, that's a great way to relax. And take out the earphones. Like when you are like outside, like
Just listen.
you're just plugged into technology again.
Yeah.
Like take out the earphones, don't put the AirPods in.
Like your
You
phone
know,
inside.
exactly, like listen to the sound of nature, allow
Yes.
yourself to relax.
Yeah.
Um, if you're able to go barefoot in some grass
Love
ground,
it.
that's great, right?
Yep.
um, but really it's just about treating yourself right,
That's it.
treating yourself like you love yourself. And like think about, if I really loved myself, what actions would I be taking? Would I be taking actions that are like ignoring my own health? Like, oh, YOLO, I don't care about that, I'm gonna die young and do whatever I want, right? But like really the reality of it is like we live every single day,
Yep.
and what the actions we take, the things that we think really determine the quality of life that we're gonna be living and how long.
Mm.
And for me, I've decided that I want to live the longest life possible, and I want to live the best life possible. So I'm going to be taking the best actions as possible, um, for me and my family, because I know my son's going to mimic those exact actions. He's going to mimic all those things. So, but that's how I relax. Is like
Love that.
I give myself that time to think on my own. I take care of myself, and I just, you know, I
Yep.
just don't have to relax as often anymore, because I changed my mindset. So
Love that.
like it's easy to relax
It is.
once you've done all those things. Like you don't have that overbearing stress that's just like on your shoulders.
Mm.
Like you don't have like the pounding headaches. You don't have just like all those things, because you've done the work, and you've allowed yourself to literally have more energy. You've allowed yourself to like enjoy the day. Like I remember like back when I had the worst mindset, like I'd go through traffic and I feel like I was drained
Oh,
after
same.
that, because I was screaming at people and yelling, and like my day was worse after that. But now I don't have that. I'm enjoying, even in traffic, I'm just doing affirmations or singing my affirmation songs like I've sung a couple times, right? Like I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah,
And that makes just makes the day so much better.
it
Like
does.
even those instances, I'm relaxing because I'm just allowing myself to enjoy myself. And that's really what it is finding enjoyment in the little things.
That's it. I exercise in nature too. I go for bike rides and bike runs and not bike runs, nature runs uh, and I lay out in the sun. Like it's summer here, so I was laying out in the sun before I came on and spoke to you. I was getting my sunlight for the day. It's like, and I just sit with myself. Like I used to, when I was the king of self sabotage, I'd put my headphones in and go for those bike rides and not listen to nature. Now I hear the kookaburras, I hear the birds, I see the butterflies, and like I just love doing that. And I love laying out in the sun. Same thing again, hearing the birds, and I don't. And sometimes I'm listening to your podcast actually, but other times I'm just actually just listening to myself and listening to things around me. And when you do that work, like you find great joy in that. Like the sun is actually the best thing for you. Do not get involved with the fear around the sun. The sun gives us knowledge, it gives us wisdom, it gives us power, and it gives us energy. It is the best thing for us. And this time of year down here in Australia, my listeners and viewers, get out in the sun, get your feet in the dirt, start taking control of your health, get your power back, and let's go.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the fear of the sun, right? Like everyone wearing sunglasses all the time.
Yeah.
That's another thing
Sunscreen.
I've started doing, right? Like I don't wear sunglasses
Neither
unless
do
I'm
I.
driving and I'm getting blinded by the light. I don't wear sunglasses at all
Neither do
anymore,
I.
because I'm trying to absorb all that. Like we're kind of like plants. We actually take that sunlight and we
Yep.
create vitamin D. We literally create minerals that we need. So
Mhm.
if you're always like having like your arms covered with sunscreen or clothing, you have your eyes, covered with sunglasses, you're missing out on extremely beneficial um energy from the sun, essentially is what it is. And like we're literally we can turn that energy into things that we need, and
Yep.
we very much do need it.
Yeah, and the sun can turn you. It actually turns your body back on. Like it helps you. It helps your organs. It not only just gives you knowledge, wisdom, and power, but like it turns your body back on. It helps you produce more light. You'll find that you're sleeping better because you're not looking at a computer screen or your phone all the time. These glasses that I'm wearing, people are probably wondering what they are. These are computer glasses. So they block the blue light from the computer. If I look closely, you'll see the blue light. Yeah. So
That's
there's
awesome.
ways around things, and I also wear a pair of night glasses as well that block out the lights. So it's like a red light. And it helps your body produce melatonin for sleep. Like there's always ways around things, but just getting out in the sun can help your body so much in terms of if you're struggling for sleep as well. So
Yeah, I love that. And like the glasses, like that's a great idea. There's also like modes you can set on your computer or your phones. We
yes,
can actually turn off the blue light.
we can.
You can set it to like go like turn off like towards a certain time at night.
Mm,
And that blue light has been notoriously for like keeping people up. So like
mm.
if you want to start getting some better sleep, so you can get some more energy in your life, avoid the screen times for like an hour or two before bed if you can.
And read.
Try to um, get out and see the sunshine, right?
Mm.
Um, and there's different things you can do to like increase your melatonin production. There's like sweet tart cherries. There's a sweet
Oh.
tart cherry juice you can actually drink.
Mm.
It actually has a precursor for melatonin. So if you drink some of that before bed, like 30 minutes to like an hour before bed, that boosts up your melatonin production. So that's a great thing to drink. Actually,
Yep.
I have some sweet tart cherry juice I drink myself, and that
Beautiful.
stuff's delicious.
Or just sit in a dark room, Tanner.
Yeah,
And have the blinds closed and you have the lights turned off and you can sit with yourself like I do every night. It's great.
that's awesome. Yeah, and then you can do some stretches, right?
That's it. Nah, this has been an awesome chat, Tanner. We've
Yeah.
gone on some epic tangents there, and it actually does circle back to the New Year's resolution, really. For those out there, just set the intention and seek and ask for help. And we're here all the time. We're available. So yeah, knowledge is power. It's time for humanity to take their power back, and let's rock and roll.
Awesome.
Have
Yeah,
you
but I love it. Yeah, guys, get out there. If you're going to make a New Year's resolution, make sure you're conscious about it. Think about really what you want to do. Talk yourself up.
Yep.
Reach out for help if you need help, or start doing some research on the subconscious mind. You can check out either me or Nathan's podcast, or really just go into Google and type in the subconscious mind and start to learn. Right.
Mm-hmm. It's all
Look
there.
at Bruce Lipton. Bruce Lipton is literally amazing. You can learn so much from some of his videos about subconscious mind. Like I know I've learned a lot from him, so highly recommend checking him out.
I might chuck a link to Bruce Lipton's work down the bottom as well. So I'll put Paul Chek, Bruce Lipton. I'll put some books in there as well for people that if you are watching this and you feel like you need some inspiration for stuff, I'll put some links down the bottom of Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joseph Murray's book, Paul Chek's podcast as well, and reach out anytime because we're always here. So, and Tanner, I love my dad jokes. Please have one for me.
Oh man, let me just think about it. Um,
Come
on the
on.
spot. I usually have such good dad jokes, but they're usually like, like when the time comes up. Let me think.
All right.
Okay. This one is probably pretty common, but let's go because it came to my mind.
All
Okay,
right.
what do you call a pig who knows karate?
Oh, yeah, I do know the answer. You go.
Pork chop. Hi-ya.
Oh, awesome. I've got one as well. Did you hear about
Okay.
the two knots that had a race, Tanner? Ended in
Two
a
knots who
tie.
had a race?
Yeah, the two knots had a race, mate. It ended in a tie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Awesome chat,
Perfect.
mate. I'll get you back on for part 3. I'm keen to get back on yours too, and let's keep pushing this information out there. Thanks for coming on today. I'm very grateful to have you on.
Yeah, very grateful to have you on, and Merry Christmas to every one of the viewers.
Yep.
Have a good day. Thanks,
Happy New
Nathan.
Year as well, and good luck with your
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions, everyone. And
Yeah,
we'll
Happy New
we'll
Year's.
see you real soon.